everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sue's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Alright, I'm going to try to make this a quick review just because my allergies are just so bad. And they're just draining me of all my energy today. I'm so tired. So tired. Well, I also had a pretty exhausting week at work. I'm still burnt out and recovering. I think you can see the biggest bags under my eyes. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about Those Who Pray by Jennifer Moffett. This is a young adult novel about surviving and escaping a cult. I think I'm on a theme this week, although the third review for this week has nothing to do with young adults escaping cult life, but I guess I was on a theme. I do like this book. It was published by Simon & Schuster, the imprint Athenaeum Books for Young Readers. I will say this. The beginning was... I liked the opening, you know. It's set, you know, in Italy, July 1994. I did like the opening chapter. I thought it created this air of mystery, like, wow, what's going to happen with this story? And I do like how this story does have a lot of journalistic sections to break up the story. See? Interviews on Emily X. Emily is our main character. So you're reading all this stuff, and it's lulling you into what the story is going to be about. So it does set the premise, it does set the atmosphere of where the story is going to go, except you don't know where exactly it's going to go or how it's going to fully develop. And now, when I started reading this, part one takes place in Boston, I was like, what? Boston? I grew up there. She goes to, I believe it's Boston University, and she's very alone. You know, she's so far from home, she's very alone. First, I want to say this has nothing to do with the book. Well, it does. One of the reasons I was drawn to this book was because I am a Bostonian at heart. I did spend the first 10 years of my life living in Cambridge at the MIT campus, and then I grew up in Dorchester. So that's where I lived up till 2000, and I moved down to Florida. And ever since I moved, you know, 1 year here was just like enough. I'm like, I want to go back. I was like, I want to go back. I want to go back to Boston. I do even now, to this moment. I want to return and live in Boston because it's my home. I love Boston. Does it get too hot during the summer? Sometimes, yes. Does it get too cold during the winter? Sometimes, yes. But I love the change in seasons. I really do. In Florida, it's hot and humid 90% of the time. And it's just the same every day. And I'm sure some people like the same every day. Not me. I'm not. I like seeing those trees blossom on the Boston Commons. I like riding the subway. So that's what drew me into this book. The fact that it takes place in a very familiar setting for me. Especially because my apartment was like an hour away from Emerson. So I would pass by BU. All 3 stops. BU East, BU West, BU Central. It was very annoying. But that is what I liked about it. That's what drew me in. Now, I will say this. The first couple of chapters were a little boring. I was just like, where are we going with this? Obviously, you know, the author, she is setting up the stage. She is setting up the premise. She's creating that foundation so that we get to know Emily and why she feels so alone. It's not bad. It's a slow follow-up to this opening in Italy. Because this was just like, what is happening? you're just kind of thrust in there. And that's what I liked, That is something I liked. And then everything afterwards was just, it was like high and then low, but then I went right back up. And it stayed up for the rest of the novel, so I will say that. I also do like how you have these steps in front of the chapters explaining how cult mentality works. And step 1 is introduce yourself to someone new. Try a student sitting alone or someone who seems upset or out of place. Invite him or her to an informal activity. That's how they get you. Because Emily is alone. She is alone. She is approached by a boy. And it's just like they connect. And she finally doesn't feel alone anymore. And then she meets his friends. And she finally has the sense of community that she's been missing. She feels very sad. She feels very alone. And it's not because she doesn't come from a loving home. She does come from a loving home, but she is so far away from home. And the death of her mother from when she was a kid, it still haunts her, even though she does have, in her opinion, a loving stepmother. She likes her stepsister. She has a good family relationship. She just feels like there's like this wall. She's always felt like there was this wall separating her from them. And it has made her feel very alone and isolated. So there you go. That's the introduction of who Emily is and why the cult targets her. There are all these, step 2, step 3, for the kingdom, as they like to call themselves, the kingdom. Memorize the salvation formula, step 4. Disciple equals Christian equals saved. So I do like the story. I do like the pacing. I like how it is broken up into parts. Part 1, part 2. And I do like how you get to see part 3 and then part 4. Part 4 is very short. It's just her recovery back in Mississippi. But there's a lot that happens in this book. It's very well written. Let me start by saying that. And it's very engaging. Once again, slow start. But once you pick up on those tells, you the reader know something's wrong. And at first, Emily doesn't see it. Again, she's very alone. She's very isolated. She is the perfect target for a cult. And she really doesn't see anything wrong. She just doesn't want to lose these new friends of hers. She doesn't want to lose this guy she's met who likes her, who she likes too. She doesn't want to lose these new connections that she's made. So she's really putting everything that she thinks is unsettling in the back of her head. Now, it's not till she gets to Italy where, alarms start to go off. She's seeing how the leader of the kingdom, he's delusional. She's starting to see, his treatment of them is not good. He takes their passports, their cash. He makes them 100% reliant on him. And he's a hypocrite. His daughter is there, who, by the way, is a daughter of an affair he had. He thinks he can beat death. He's crazy. And you get to see it. You're seeing all the subtle little details. And he's just kind of insane. But I think all cult leaders are insane. And Emily is starting to see it too. She has a new mentor now. A new mentor, yeah. And it's Kara. Kara's great. Kara doesn't take anyone's shit. She's just like, and nods her head, goes along with it, like, yes. And then when they're not around, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. Come on, let's go. Let's just chill. Let's go. do what they're asking us to do. Kara is there. She's like the complete opposite of her first mentor, Heather. Was that Heather? I think it was Heather. Yeah, pretty sure it was Heather. I'm not a fan of Heather. I think. I don't know, there were just lots of girls. But I like that, you know. Yeah, it was Heather. I just wanted to confirm it was Heather. She's completely different from Heather. Heather was just like, no, you have to follow everything that this says. Like, you can't have a library Bible. You need to go buy your own Bible. We need to make notes. Like, she's hardcore into the kingdom. And Kara, she's kind of just there because she has to be. Because she doesn't believe any of their crap. She's just like, I'm here because I'm being forced to be here. She's opening Emily's eyes. And when something bad happens to Kara, that's when Emily's just like, okay, I need to go. I need to get out. This is insane. Like, why am I here? What am I doing? That's the awakening moment. So it's really a journey for Emily to find herself because she feels very lost. And you can connect to that. I think at some point in all of our lives, especially if we go to a college far away from home. I know I did. Again, I live in Florida. My mom lives in Florida. And I went to college back in Massachusetts. Of course, there were times when I felt very alone. You know, I felt like homesick, I guess. Or just sad. Or just alone. You know, I think we've all had those moments. I mean, I think we experience them a lot, you know, right when we move away from home or we're in a new city by ourselves. I think, or we're starting a new school, whether it be high school or middle school or college, I think at some point in our lives we all feel alone at some point. So you can draw on that to connect to the character. And that's what I think is good, that you're seeing her characterization, you're seeing her growth, you're seeing her find her common sense, and you're seeing her grow and escape and expose this cult for what they are. And that is what I took away from this novel. That is something that I enjoyed from this novel, that I was able to draw from and be like, okay, all right, I'm getting into this novel. And that was me, you know. So ultimately, I liked Those Who Pray. I do think it was a well-written novel. Sorry, that's funny. I think it was a well-written novel. I do like the pacing. I do highly recommend it. Again, it did have a bit of a slow start. I wasn't sure if I was going to end up finishing it or reading it. I was just like a little bit bored by the opening after that initial chapter. I was like, but once you get past that, once you're reading all the small little details and recognizing those small unsettling details, sorry, Nat, you're engaged and you just want to like grab Emily's hand and run away and be like, no, like you don't need them. Like you can find your own connections, but it's hard. You know, I think it's always hard for us to make friends sometimes. So ultimately, I'm going to give Those Who Pray 4 out of 5 stars. I did like it. I did. I do think it was an engaging novel overall. I was happy with the story. I really was. So yeah, I think it has a really good ending. The ending leaves you a little unsettled. You're like, wow, but also hopeful. So like she was able to escape. She was able to survive. She was able to make something new and fresh of her life and recover from Italy, because everything that happened in Italy is terrible. So you're able to really connect to that and feel for Emily as a character. So on that note, once again, 4 out of 5 stars. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, please purchase it from your local bookstore or online book retailer. If money's tight, please check it out from your local library. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. You can also support me by making a $1 donation and buy me a coffee, link in the description below, or buying one of my fabulous smelling candles. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, happy reading.